All right, welcome everyone to New Faculty Orientation. This is our kickoff. We have a slate of activities that are planned for you to all get acquainted with the university and with one another. And this is just the beginning. My name is Melissa Boles Terry. My pronouns are she, hers, and I'm the director of the Faculty Center. We are going to keep on admitting people as they arrive. As we begin, I'd like to share a land acknowledgement statement to recognize and respect the physical space we're in and to acknowledge that we are not here in this specific place by any accident of history, but through colonization. The University of Nevada, Las Vegas wishes to acknowledge and honor the indigenous communities of this region and recognize that the university is situated on the traditional homelands of the Unlv, Southern Paiute people. We offer gratitude for the land itself, for those who have been stewarding it for generations, and for the opportunity to study, learn, work, and be in community with this land. I also want to acknowledge that many of our hearts are heavy today, given news from Afghanistan and Lebanon and Haiti. If you have loved ones there, I'm so sorry. And we also feel the heaviness of the continued uncertainty and the strain of the COVID pandemic. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that, as we also take some time today to be grateful for all of the good things that are in our lives and the promise that a brand new school year always brings. So I have a few items to note as we get started. We are recording this session so that those who weren't able to join us right now this minute can still view it later. Also, there is a live transcript available that you can turn on or off in Zoom if you prefer to have closed captions for this meeting. Also, the chat is open for your questions. So please feel free to put your questions in there as we go along. We're doing a Q&A at the end. And also, please do keep your microphone on mute, except for when we go in the breakout sessions, as we have a fairly large group gathered here virtually. So I'm going to share with you our agenda for this kickoff session. This is our plan for today. We are delighted to have President Keith Whitfield and Provost Chris Heavey joining us. They'll give some remarks, and then you'll hear from Sherry Carley from Human Resources, which will be useful for everyone, I know. Then we have an icebreaker to help you connect with your colleagues who are also new to UNLV. After the icebreaker, Vice Provost Janet Dufek will share some information, and then I'll give you a preview of the online course that most of our orientation content is in. And then we'll go to our Q&A, where this group of folks will be available to answer your questions. Many of you submitted questions in advance, which the panel will try to address. But as you have additional questions that come up today, you can share those in the chat, and we will do our best to respond. So that is our plan for today. Thank you all so much for being here. Welcome to UNLV. And I am going to turn it over to our first speaker, who I think is actually going to be Dr. Chris Heavey.
Hi, Melissa. I think President Whitfield is here. So why don't we let President Whitfield go first, do the honors to kick things off. I saw him just a moment ago. Let's see.
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Take us away, President.
Melissa was just blowing me off, Chris. You know how everybody does that. Good afternoon. Welcome to UNLV. I can only imagine how excited you are. Easily take that. For some of you, it's maybe take that and double it about how excited I am that you all are here, that you're joining a faculty, a staff, a community of scholars and students that are just some of the best that you'll ever meet. I am your president, and I need to say that in the right way. I am your president. And I've been here for a year starting next Tuesday. So I'm still new. I'm still getting to learn the lay of the land. But I think what you'll find very quickly, if you haven't already learned it, is that this is a community There are lots of people to be able to help you, to be able to reach out to be able to connect with as you learn to navigate this great university. And I would just encourage you, just double that. That's the way to do it. We have very strong ties within this university. We have very strong ties within the community. There's some of you all I know that are coming in new that are going to have a great connection and engagement with the community. And I thank you very much, because I think for us as an urban public research university, that's part of who we are. That's part of our DNA, is that we are here where things happen. And as you can imagine, they're happening in one of the greatest cities in the United States in terms of Las Vegas. I have seen, I think at a point in time, it maybe wasn't the lowest point in the pandemic, but the economic hardships that we faced. And one of the things as a institution of higher ed that we offer, I think, is hope. I wish you could have been with us last May when we did an outdoor graduation ceremony. And I have been at graduation ceremonies at 3, 4 other universities. And I don't think I've ever been a part of a more exciting, heartfelt experience other than that. And I think it's because of the times that we're in, but I also think it's just the heart of the people that come to our university. You're going to play an extraordinary role in their ability to be able to make not only their lives better, but their families' lives better. I know that each one of you all will have a different mission, have different goals. For some of you all, this may be your first academic position. In preparation for just thinking about talking with you all, I thought about my first position, and I thought about, those first days of getting started. And there's a bit of fear and trepidation, but there's also this incredible excitement. And so I'm very excited for you all. I think that you're going to have a great career at this university. You're going to see this university change, though. It's going to get better and better as time goes on. We're positioned for that. I wish I could claim credit for it. Most of the credit I have to give to my provost. He does everything. But we really are on a trajectory where you're going to see a good university, a really good university, actually be better. And we're going to do this through lots of different ways of building research, building better community, engaging our students in different ways, engaging our community in other ways. And so I feel like I'm selling a car. It's like, buy. You should be excited. This is going to be the start for a fantastic year. We've got to be nimble. We've got to be flexible. We've got to be thoughtful. But this is going to be a great year, and it's going to be a great year in large part because of what you contribute to us. So in advance of that, I just want to say thank you very much. Ask a lot of questions. I'm sure there'll be more to come. I still use GPS to get all over town because I have no idea where I'm going. But you're going to learn this place. And I think the more you learn it, you'll be like me. The more you learn it, the more you're going to love it. So with that, thank you very much. Have a great day of getting started. Also, sometimes things come up where you feel like writing the president. It should always be nice things, though. But if you so feel compelled to do that, you can always get a hold of me at president@unlv.edu. So with that, thank you very much. Have a great session today.
All right. Well, I'll just pick up right there. And as you can see, that President Whitfield is a very enthusiastic and passionate leader. I'm Chris Heavey, the Executive Vice President and Provost of UNLV, and I'm delighted to be with you today and to say a few words of welcome in addition to those that President Whitfield shared. As he said, we believe tremendously in the mission that we have as an institution. And we are incredibly important to the lives of our students and our community. And by we, I mean all of us, right? We understand, the president and I understand that we fulfill the mission of the university through your efforts. One of the ways that I think about our administrative work a lot is to create the conditions for the faculty and staff of the university to be successful in fulfilling that mission. And it's a really noble mission. We're in the near future going to roll out the Top Tier 2.0 strategic plan that the president has been working on since he got here a year ago. And you'll see the great things that are the main kind of foci of that strategic plan. But at its heart, it's really the development of people and our community. And we do that through our work with students, and we do that through direct engagement with our community all across the university, whether it's our School of Medicine, our School of Dental Medicine, our professional schools, or all of the faculty who engage with the community in many different ways. And so this is an incredibly exciting day for us when we welcome a new group of faculty to the university and try to start to talk about how do we work together to fulfill that mission. And you may not be familiar, if you're new to academics, you may not be familiar with the term provost. Every time people outside of the university ask me, what do you do? I say, oh, I'm the provost of Unlv. And they're like, look at me like, oh, what is that? Nobody has any idea. So if you're out from outside the university, the way that I think about provost, and a lot of people talk about it, is the chief operating officer. And my role is to work closely with the president to make sure that this place works and that we are operating effectively to fulfill the mission and the direction that the president is setting for us. And it's a really exciting job, but it's challenging, because when I think about the work that we do, we need to be working as a coordinated and coherent whole, in concert with each other. And often it's really hard to even define all of the complexities of what that means. And so as you get to know the fellow people that you're welcoming into this new university today, you'll see that the array of different positions that are going to be represented here is going to be enormously vast. And the skills that you're going to bring to this enterprise are going to be really highly varied. We live in the technical world of financial aid compliance and accessibility of documents, all the way to the passion of academic faculty who are world-leading experts in their own fields and scholars that are producing new knowledge that's changing the world. And all of those pieces need to be working together. And that's really the way that I think about my central role in the university, is to try to coordinate that effort to make sure that everybody is working effectively together so that we can handle both the budgets and the money and the hiring and the legal aspects of it, all while doing the really life-affirming work of working directly with students and all of the things we need to do to support them and engaging in our community. And the students are at the heart of all of this, and you are incredibly important to them. We have seen, as the president said, we saw the smiles on their faces as they walked across the graduation stage in May. And what they talk about is the faculty and the staff they've interacted with. They say how much people touch their lives. We occasionally get to meet the students and get to know them, but not very many of them. There's 30,000 of them, and luckily we've got 4,000 plus faculty and staff who help us extend that reach so that we touch people individually and personally in ways that really make a difference to them. And at this particular moment, I want to emphasize how important that's going to be. So it's a really exciting day for us always to welcome new faculty and staff into the university. We're welcoming you into what is a really exciting time for the university, and the president has brought a great ambitious vision and excitement to the university, and I think we will get better. But at this particular moment, it's also one of the most challenging semesters we're entering, because we've got people who want in-person instruction, and we've got people who don't want to come to campus because they don't feel it's safe. We've got all kinds of varied reactions. We got people who are vaccinated, people who don't want to get vaccinated. All of these different kinds of permutations that we're going to have to juggle. And if you're teaching in a classroom this semester, that's going to be a particularly challenging environment. We have a mask mandate on campus, and one of the biggest questions I get asked nowadays is, what am I going to do when a student says he won't wear a mask or she won't wear a mask? And we're going to have to negotiate all of those kinds of things this semester to get through the last, what we hope and expect are going to be the last throes of this pandemic. So it's going to take a lot of patience, particularly this semester. When I talk to the group who's leading our COVID response, I say calm and care a lot. We're going to take some deep breaths. We're going to be calm about this thing. And we're going to try to just think about what's the most caring thing I can do in the situations that I'm going to encounter. Because you're going to have students who are going to say, I tested positive and I can't come to class and I need to get the assignments remotely, or my parents are sick, or I need to go to the hospital to visit them, and all kinds of different permutations of that. But ultimately, we're going to carry on the life-affirming mission that we have through the university, despite all of the challenges that we are going to face. And I hope we're going to feel honored doing it, because it's an incredibly honorable thing to do, to basically be in the job of helping to develop human potential, helping to get people build the future that they want for themselves. But I also think about education. Education is just a tremendously hopeful thing, right? Nobody gets educated because they don't believe in tomorrow. Everyone gets an education because they do believe in tomorrow, and they believe what's coming tomorrow is going to be better than what they have today because of the experiences they have here at UNLV that all of you make possible. So really excited to welcome you. And the last thing I want to say is that we talk a lot in the education world about continuous learning, right? Creating people who are lifelong learners. When I also thought back to my first days as a faculty member, thinking about this talk as President Whitfield did, and thought how many things I didn't know about how a university worked when I walked in the door. And so if you're coming in as an academic faculty member, and particularly if you haven't been in a academic, university position before as an instructor, you got hired probably because you were a world-class student and a world-class scholar. But you didn't get necessarily hired because you were a world-class teacher, and you probably don't know anything about financial aid and many different rules that are involved in making a university actually function. And so along the way, there's going to be a whole team of people who are here to support you. Melissa Boles Terry is an incredible leader of our faculty center. We're so pleased to have her leading that center, and you can see from the very first moments of interacting with her what a positive and supportive person she's going to be. There's also a whole team of vice provosts. It's too many to name. There's actually, I think, 6 different vice provosts, each of whom has a lot of expertise in the areas that they support. And then there's our Office of Human Resources and our Office of Information Technology and many other key offices that you're going to learn about today as you go through this orientation. So be patient. There's a lot of people here to help you. When you don't know something, feel free to reach out to ask. And when you get frustrated by why do I have to do this or why do I have to do that, ask that question, because we try not to make people do anything that there's not a good reason for, but there's probably a lot of reasons that you haven't encountered before. There's a lot of complexity that lives behind the scenes of our federal regulations that we have to be in compliance with, and all of those kinds of aspects that we need to be sure are functioning for this university to actually be successful. So really excited to welcome you. The incredible talent and expertise that comes in this group, I'm sure, is mind-boggling. I've said it many different occasions, there's no more interesting group of people to be with than a group of faculty, because they're all passionate about what they do and they all have incredible expertise. So welcome to UNLV. I look forward to, and I know the president does, meeting you in person when we get that chance. We're really sorry we couldn't do this event in person, but we're trying to start off a little cautiously given what's been happening in Las Vegas recently with the virus, but we'll get back to in-person events just as soon as we can. And with that, I will happily hand it over to our Master of Ceremonies and also my close colleague, our Vice Provost for Faculty Affairs, Janet Dufek, who takes a lot of responsibility for this event, along with Melissa Boles Terry. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for that, Provost Heavey, but I believe I'm going to hand off to Sherry Carley, who is who is the Deputy Chief Human Resources Officer, and I will wrap back around later. Thank you. Sherry?
Hey, everybody. I'm going to share my screen here real quick. Making sure I'm sharing the correct screen. There we go. Can you see that? Can I get a nod? No? Okay. One moment, please. There we go. Seeing it now? Awesome. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Again, my name is Sherry Carley. I'm the Deputy Chief Human Resources Officer here at UNLV, and that's a whole lot of words to say. I am really delighted to be a part of a great HR team who is here to support you in your careers. I am relatively new to UNLV as well, starting this past January. So still have a lot to learn myself, but I'm excited about this time with you today. I've got 2 of my team members here with me, Arturo Baltazar and Kim Dawes, and I've got all of our emails here in the chat. They're representing the benefits department, and between the 3 of us, we are going to try to answer any questions that you might have. If you stump us with a question, or if you have a question that's a little too personal, or a question that's a little bit more complex, We are going to go ahead and take those questions offline, but we'll do our best to answer anything you throw into the chat that's answerable. So let's move on to the next slide. I wanted to introduce you to Erica Smith. I'm sort of introducing her virtually, of course. Erica is our Vice President of Human Resources and our Chief People Officer. Hopefully you get an opportunity to meet her. She is just an amazing leader and someone that I've really enjoyed working with. And I wanted to share a little bit about the mission that we have here in HR. We partner with our campus community by supporting a talented, inclusive workforce that invests in our students' success. So that truly is what is driving what we do here in HR. And to put it in maybe more layman's terms, we're here to support and guide and that sort of thing. We're not here to be the police. So that's not the role that we want to have here at the university. Let's see, let me go to the next one. So I was thinking about what to put in this presentation. There's so much. So trying to whittle it down was a little bit hard, but just at a very broad level, these are the services that you might see under HR. I won't go through each one of those. I did put in the slide, and when I'm done speaking, I'll also put it in the chat, the link to the HR website. We've been working really hard with all of the units to report through HR to kind of refresh and make the content up to date and that sort of thing. You'll also see at the very bottom there, the phone number for our HR front desk. And we are located in the campus services building, CSV, and that building is, some have referred to it as a trailer. It's sort of a long-term temporary building that's in the shadow of the Thomas and Mack Center. So lots of parking, easy to get to, but that's where we are if you ever want to come visit us. And the HR team is actively in the office, not everybody every day, but we've got representatives from each of our HR units in the office every single day. So feel free to drop by if that makes sense to you. Let's see here. So resources, there is so much that I could talk about. So I thought I'd hit just a few of the high points. I'm gonna put on my glasses because now I can't see. COVID-19, right? That we're still dealing with that. And so we have a really robust and up-to-date COVID-19 website. That's where you're going to find all updates. I think you all know that the governor of Nevada recently implemented a vaccine or test mandate. And for the state employees, that was effective August 15th. NSHE, which is the Board of Regents, the governing body over all of higher ed in Nashville, in Nevada, is we're working with them to try to put together kind of what makes sense for us. So for right now, there's nothing for you to do in terms of proving that you're vaccinated or presenting your test results. We're looking to have something rolled out and ready for you by the end of the month. So again, just keep your eye on that website. I'll put all of these in the chat again when I'm done chatting here. The other thing I wanted to mention was Rebel Reset. Because of the fatigue and all that COVID has brought into our lives, Rebel Reset is really a menu of no-cost wellness programming for all of UNLV faculty and staff. We're offering that currently through December 2021. These activities are designed to help you prioritize your journey toward wellness and what we're calling a better normal. You're going to find things like chair massages at the student union, virtual and in-person yoga classes. What else we got here? Meditation, health meets cooking classes, that sort of thing. So be sure to check that website out frequently because we are adding a lot of programming. The other thing we're happy to provide is a resource for faculty and staff wellness. That is both campus and community resources for the 8 dimensions of wellness: emotional, environmental, financial, intellectual, occupational, physical, social, and spiritual. And that's really, there's just a plethora of information out there, and we've partnered with others across campus to develop that, the faculty wellness website, and encourage you to explore that. And just throw up there for fun, the Lingo Glossary. Every organization has its own language, and sometimes that can be the most difficult thing to learn, is what does that acronym mean, and that sort of thing. So take a peek at it. It's certainly not, it's fun. It's not it's not like everything out there, but it's a really good little resource. Something else that probably everybody on here is interested in is benefits. And so again, very robust resources with respect to benefits. We've got our management training academy, and I wanted to highlight that because that's just one offering out of our organizational development team. And this is really a terrific opportunity for folks to get involved in. It's a foundational training series designed to provide clear, standardized expectations for all university personnel who manage non-student employees. So if you're a non-student manager, this is something that you'd be interested in. It's an 8-week program. It includes live seminars, interactive time with your colleagues, panel discussions, online seminars taught by UNLV faculty and community professionals. So be on the lookout for that. And then the other thing that we get a lot of questions on are flexible work arrangements. And so again, a flexible work schedule is a non-traditional working arrangement that considers an individual's personal needs while effectively addressing and satisfying the university's business needs. So what I want you to hear out of that is there are a couple of caveats. A flexible work schedule may not be appropriate for all areas, and approval of a flexible work schedule is at the discretion of a supervisor and their appointing authority for that area. And it must be approved by HR in advance before beginning an agreement. But I also want to mention that flexible work means more than just remote. Everybody's mind, particularly coming out of the pandemic, everybody's mind goes to, oh, working from home or working remotely. But flexible work can also include a variable work week, working a schedule that's different than your unit's standard operating hours. And it could be a combination of remote work and in-person work. So there is sort of a mix and match approach. So good information out there about flexible work arrangements. And then I thought, you know what? And we have people resources too. We're both human and we are a resource. So there are live people that you can talk to. Some areas like business affairs division and police services have an actual HR business partner, somebody who is reports up through central HR, but is embedded in the units. Other areas have HR liaisons, like OIT, the libraries, the med school, that sort of thing. But everybody has an HR business team, and that is a group of folks that we have put together that's dedicated to your unit, college, school, whatever. And I just did a screenshot of what that looks like. And so you can see that, for example, the College of Liberal Arts has a designated or a dedicated benefits resource, a dedicated compensation resource, a dedicated recruitment resource. And those folks become more intimately involved in your school and understand what's going on in your area. Anybody on the HR team is willing to help you and able to help you, but kind of deploying this business team approach allows you to have a more direct relationship with folks who know your area. So throwing that out there. And finally, I know we're all going through a new faculty orientation, but I want to remind you about some great work that Kim and Arturo are involved in, which is the new employee benefits orientation. That is a virtual orientation that is offered once a month. We've got a session coming up this week, August 18th, and then another one on the 15th. excuse me, it's 2 1-hour sessions from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. You can sign up for either session or both. The first module kind of just is an introduction to resources, onboarding, workday, things like that. And the second session is really dedicated to all of your benefit questions, health insurance, voluntary benefits, retirement, that sort of thing. So what I put in this slide are both links to sign up for that new employee benefits orientation if you haven't already, and then also a link for just kind of the general page about enrolling in this class. So if you haven't done so, would encourage you to. Lots of great information, and it's really a great place to get answers to your individual questions. And that's it. So I don't know, I think I probably went over my 10 minutes. So I think we're going to do questions at the very end. But please feel free to throw anything you've got in the chat. Kim and Arturo and I will be here to answer those. And I will throw some of these links in the chat as well, in case there was something in particular you wanted to grab. So thank you so much for your time. And it's great to meet all of you. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. I am Kimberly Kendricks, the Director of Faculty Success in the Office of Faculty Affairs, and I am facilitating today's icebreaker activity. First, I want to welcome you to UNLV. We're excited to have you as a member of the UNLV family. Today's icebreaker activity will help you to make connections with fellow faculty prior to the start of the semester. The activity is called Reconnect. Momentarily, you will be sent to a breakout room with 3 to 4 of your colleagues. In your breakout rooms, introduce yourself, share your name, position, unit, and where you are from. Then answer 3 questions. For each question, go around the virtual room so that each person has the opportunity to share a response to the same question. The questions serve as a foundation for conversation. Give in to curiosity and ask your peers follow-up questions to their responses and make comments to welcome conversation. The first question is light and fun. What is the strangest food you have ever eaten? The second question digs a bit deeper. What is the one personality trait that you admire in others? The third question requires self-reflection. What is the most adventurous thing you have ever done? I will post these questions in the chat for reference. You will have 15 minutes for this activity and will return to this main meeting room when time expires. Are there any questions? All right, Melissa, if you could go ahead and send everyone, that would be great.
And you want 15 minutes in the breakout rooms?
Yes.
Okay. And for those of you who are co-hosts and panelists, you can join or not. If you don't join a room, you'll just stay here in the main room. So I'll go ahead and open the rooms.
Well, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the opportunity to connect with your and encourage you to continue making connections as you onboard this year. Now I'd like to turn the floor over to Vice Provost Janet Dufay.
Thanks, Kimberly. I'm going to hold on just a moment because it looks like there's still some folks jumping out of the rooms. So let me just give a couple of seconds here. Okay. There we go. Everyone should be popping back in now. Yep. Looks like we're filling up. So thanks, Kimberly, for that transition. Now, it's probably, you're all probably like a bunch of third graders just coming back from recess, right? You've got all of this energy and now I have to try to get you to settle back down. No, really. As Kimberly said, my name is Janet Dufek and I'm one of 7 vice provosts that support the provosts and the president's initiative. And I'm the vice provost for faculty affairs. And I'd like, first of all, to give you my personal welcome to UNLV for the start of what we hope is a very successful and safe academic year, for those of you that are academic faculty, not only for yourself, but for your students, for those of you that are administrative and classified, supporting the mission that you're here to carry out. So as you heard from our provost earlier, we have a very wide background of expertise and quite varied. We have, in fact, approximately 400 new faces that are going to either appear virtually or set foot on our campus this fall. And of those 400, actually 401, if you count our president, because he needs another week until he gets his year in, right? We have 71 academic faculty, 128 administrative faculty, and approximately 200 part-time instructors, all who are carrying forth the mission and the intention of our university. I did not include the number of classified because they're actually state employees, so those are not data that we have. But what I would like to do is take a few moments to briefly share with you what we do in the Office of Faculty Affairs. First of all, as it sounds, we are here to serve faculty. We are here to serve the employees of UNLV, all categories of employees. I mentioned academic faculty, I mentioned administrative faculty. We do have part-time employees, but we also serve the classified faculty. So simplistically speaking, we are responsible for a host of faculty services and processes that need to exist on campus in order for you to do your job, for us to serve the mission of the institution. And when I say us, I'm talking about collectively all of those of us who are here to serve the university. So briefly, I'd like to give an overview of the types of things that we do in the Office of Faculty Affairs. First of all, we support processes. Now, these processes that I'm going to hit upon it's not an exclusive list, right? As you know, the information for faculty, new faculty orientation is built in more detail into our Canvas training sessions. And they are set up and arranged categorically for the categories of employees. So I will identify processes that we serve, that we're here to serve. The details of those processes can be found in the Faculty Affairs training module in the new faculty orientation. So for example, annual evaluations. These are conducted for all employees, and we're here to help bridge that service and to make sure that that is done correctly. We're here to address your questions and so on. We're certainly the go-to place for tenure and promotion questions and processes. Once again, this is for tenure track faculty and for non-tenure track faculty who obviously cannot be tenured but can be promoted. Our office also works in combination with the Office of Research and Sponsored Programs relative to conflict of interest. All faculty must annually disclose any conflicts of interest. We are here to support sabbatical and faculty leaves for the various categories of employees. We also serve to facilitate emeritus status. Now, this is something that most of you are not even thinking about right now, perhaps having just entered your first faculty position or your first institutional position, but we are the go-to office for that. If there are things that are not going so well and you have little hitches in your giddy up or something like that along the way, of course, your first communication is your direct supervisor, academic faculty, that would be your department chair, administrative faculty, your supervisor. But if you can't resolve, if there are issues, there are formal grievance processes that exist. And the Office of Faculty Affairs is here to facilitate those processes. We are also here to provide assistance for various surveys and such in conjunction with the Office of, or the Vice Provost for Decision Support. So those are some of the processes that you might turn to us for. Relative to services and events, you've already been introduced to Melissa Boles, and she'll talk more about the Faculty Center and the various services out of the Faculty Center, including mentoring groups, writing groups, networking opportunities. The Faculty Center lives under the Office of Faculty Affairs. Annual achievement awards are facilitated by our office, as well as length of service awards, university faculty travel grants, information about promotion and tenure processes, best practices, etc. Various trainings to help you support what you need to do for things like promotion and tenure or your annual reviews. We also offer trainings for search committees and to allow those committees to do their work appropriately. We have many resource manuals that are available, and we have those customized for our various forms of employees. And if I was very skilled at all, what I would do right now is dump all of our contact information into the chat, which I've done. Let's see if you can see that. So I encourage you to reach out not only to the office, but to me personally if there's a need. But allow me to finish. I was talking about the resource manuals. We have them for academic faculty, for non-tenure track faculty, for administrative faculty, part-time instructors, department chairs, and you can find all of those manuals at the Office of Faculty Affairs website, which I've just, as I said, indicated, posted in the chat. We facilitate leadership and professional development opportunities. You heard Sherry Carley from Human Resources talk about the Management Training Academy that's run out of HR. Our office facilitates some new leadership opportunities that we're launching this year. One is the UNLV Leadership Experience. Another is the President's Fellows opportunity. And then we are also facilitating department chair success sessions and sessions for new chairs. We have special projects that we undertake. You met Kimberly just a short time ago. She's the person in faculty affairs who oversees several of these special projects. For example, during the last academic year, we had a campus-wide COVID-19 survey where we asked you what was bothering you, what we need to do to help you, and facilitated town halls for open communication across the campus to learn what the concerns were and are. And out of that grew the new flexible work procedure policy that you heard Sherry refer to earlier. We also are launching a new search advocate program to facilitate and assist with search and hire. I'm also available to meet with units, departments, schools, affinity groups, and or individual faculty. So if you have a problem that you cannot solve, going to your direct supervisor, to your department chair, feel free to knock on my door, call me up, set up a virtual, whatever needs to be done. And as I wrap up things here in closing, let me just once again point you to the contact information for our office. We are located in FDH, and we're also located in Beam Hall, where the Faculty Center resides. And I said more details about the categorical things that I've identified are in the Canvas course modules, and they will remain live for you all year long so that you can go back and refer to those when it's appropriate. And the last thing I want to do is give a shout out to my team. You've met Melissa, you've met Kimberly, others that have been involved for a long period of time. So, I think we started this process in March, setting up a new faculty orientation. Those folks include Allison Saul, Deb Coleman, Delisle Bowden, Winnie Day, and Doris Blackwell. So thank you to my support team. Without them, this portion of new faculty orientation would not come off as well as it has. Oh, and by the way, you should be able to go to your units and find all the little swag that they've prepared and delivered to your academic units. So thanks again to my team. I encourage you to reach out if you have any questions or concerns. Reach out to me directly or send us an email to facultyaffairs@unlv.edu. And with that, it's my pleasure to turn the floor back over to Melissa Boles-Terry, our Director of the Faculty Center. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vice Provost Dufek. So as I mentioned at the beginning of our session today, this 90-minute kickoff that we're having today is really just the beginning of the orientation activities that are available to you. Most of the stuff that you really need to know to get started is in the online course that Janet just mentioned and that we invited you to earlier this month. I'm also just going to pop a link to it in the chat here. And we have an incentive for you. If you complete the new faculty orientation online course before classes start next week on August 23rd, you will be entered in a raffle to earn prizes. At least a dozen of you have already entered the raffle. You have one more week to do so. We have books, we have gift certificates, we have tickets to shows, and the course is about 4 hours. That's what we were aiming for it to take you about a half day. And we're very, very grateful to our partners in the Office of Online Education for helping us to develop it. In addition to this online course that we'd love for you to make your way through, we'll also have some follow-up activities this fall. So there are several panels, the first of which is a panel of students that we'll hear from on September 10th. I'm really excited about that because it's always good to have an opportunity to hear what's going on with students from across disciplines. We have a diverse panel that we'll be hearing from. I hope you'll join us for that. Then we have a couple of events with the research office to talk about research support that's offered and a faculty panel as well. So please plan to join us for that. And as Janet mentioned, we have a whole slate of faculty center activities as well. I've just given you the link to the faculty center and you will see our events front and center. If you scroll just below the events, you'll see where you can request different services. If you would like to have a consultation with an experienced faculty member who has taught, who's done research here, who's been in your shoes, please feel free to request a consultation. We also offer teaching observations that are wholly formative in nature, just an opportunity for you to get some feedback on your practice, whether that's online or in person. However you're teaching this semester, if you just want an assignment review, we're happy to meet with you, give you feedback, and see how we can help you be your most successful self here at UNLV. We also have a writing group that's just forming for this fall. So if you could use some motivation, some support, some accountability, please go ahead and join our writing group. And we have a book group that is packed. We already had 60 people sign up for our book group where they're discussing deep work this semester, but you can still join. You just have to buy your own copy of the book because we've given all of ours away. So all of that is available to you. We are here for you. As Janet said, we're in Beam Hall, which is pretty centrally located on campus. We're right by the student union. Well, we're between the library and the student union. So two most important buildings on campus, we're right in the middle. So please do come see us in Beam Hall, second floor. We have comfy space, we have a coffee pot, we have all these great events happening as well. So I really hope to see you here soon. Oh, and I'll also note that most of our events this fall will be happening in a hybrid model. That's our plan. We all know what has been happening to our plans, so we're being flexible, but the plan is that we're going to have most of our events in person with an option to join remotely. So we're doing it in a Rebel Flex kind of style. So you can be here or at home or wherever you're working and join us virtually. So that's the plan. And now with that, I think we are going to go into our Q&A with all the panelists. And my colleague, Dr. Allison Saul, is going to facilitate the panel. And so chat is open. You can add your questions there. Please let us know what you want to know. And we'll start with the questions that y'all submitted in advance.
Yes, thanks, Melissa. And again, welcome everybody. We're so glad you're here and we look forward to seeing you in person soon. But for now, this is what we have. But I appreciate those of you who submitted questions. We'll kick it off since classes start next week. Some of your academic faculty might be wondering what to do when there's classroom technology questions or challenges. I think Melissa can help answer that.
Yes, happy to do that. We have an awesome team for classroom support, and you can call them anytime. I'm sharing with you in the chat the IT website and the phone number that you can just like save in your phone right now today and call them anytime. We have a bunch of new equipment in some classrooms. So many classrooms that you'll be teaching in are equipped for lecture capture. Some are equipped for high flex teaching as well, just about 30 of those. So it's not as likely you'll be in one of those, but many are equipped with lecture capture and all have fantastic technology installed. And the team is great. You can call for help anytime. And there's also more information about this and about IT in the NFO online course. So as you get into that online course, you'll learn even more about that.
And let me chime in here a little bit, Melissa, just to underline some of the things you said, because what we've learned in this pandemic is the ability to provide content remotely is key. And so for those of you who are teaching in person, we encourage you to spend a few minutes looking at like the Panopto lecture capture guide, because you're going to have students who say, hey, I couldn't come to class because, you know, I was exposed to COVID or I tested positive. And if you're capturing your lectures routinely, it'll be much easier for you to share those lectures out with the students. And so that you don't have to try to, you know, make up, figure out how to do that on the fly. And I think the Faculty Center website or teaching remotely, we have a whole website that has those guides that you can access. And Melissa, I think, can find that link and put it in the chat function, that are really useful guides, quick and easy to make sure that you're prepared to utilize that technology, which we've made leaps and bounds in the last year. And as Melissa said, we've got 30 high flex classrooms and we got 30 more slated to be built into the future. And one of the things we're all trying to understand is what the new normal looks like. And probably from the students' point of view, the new normal looks like them wanting to be able to get the content in whatever way is easiest for them. And so students are going to vote with their dollars and their feet to universities that are making the education as accessible as possible. So we really encourage you to spend a few minutes learning how to be a technology savvy instructor. And you can also use your graduate assistants to help support that work if you're assigned a GA for your classes. So thanks.
Thank you. And so, Melissa, you talked already a little bit about some other NFO events that are happening. Can you tell us a little bit more about things that are in store for the rest of the semester?
Absolutely. So sharing another website. This is the new faculty orientation website that lists the welcome series that's coming up. You'll find more details about those events added, and also on the Faculty Center events calendar. But we do have the student panel, the research and economic development presentation, faculty panel, a session on grants and contracts, and then a new faculty mixer that we're planning for near the end of the semester, November 5th. We're hoping to get together, have some conversation and refreshments, and see each other here in the Faculty Center on that date. So that's the rest of the activity after you finish your online course.
Awesome. We've had a couple of questions about student support and student retention. Provost Hebe, did you want to maybe talk about student retention and how UNLV can support that, especially in their first year?
Yeah, so I would say student retention starts with the experiences that they're having in classrooms and finding instructors who are demonstrating that they care about them as individuals, and them getting developing some sense of connection and belonging to the institution. So all of the work that you can do to facilitate that in the classroom is going to be an important initial step. Over the last 2 years, Vice Provost Laurel Pritchard and I have been working really hard to put in additional supports for students. And so we're now, for the first time in the history of the institution, reaching our recommended student advisor ratio of 1 advisor for every 350 students. We're currently hiring 10 new additional advisors. And we built what's called a first year support program. And so we're providing funding to all of the colleges to hire peer mentors for incoming students so that they'll be able to connect with another student who's been around a little bit and can help them learn the ropes. We also have a great academic success center that provides tutoring and success coaching and a lot of other academic support services to students. And so if students are struggling academically and they need help beyond what you can give them, please refer them to the Academic Success Center. And then finally, we have a special team of people who reach out to students who have a lot of risk factors coming into the university. They're called our student outreach specialists, and they do kind of nudge advising, and they're reaching out to students multiple times during the semester. I'm proud to say that we're just achieved our highest 6-year graduation rate ever, which is 46%. But the president really wants us to get to 60% by 2030, and that's going to be a big lift for us. 60% is the national average, and we should be able to do that. But the pandemic's given us a little hit in our retention. We're down a few percentage points in our retention of first-year students because of the pandemic. It's been really hard on students, and a lot of students have struggled with the remote learning that's happened over the past year, and they're eager to be back in classrooms learning more in person. And then lastly, we do retention campaigns that are mostly driven by the advising centers in coordination with the colleges. Every college has its own professional advising center. And so over time, as you do your college orientation, you'll get to know your advising center director, and that person leads a team of advisors who are there to support the students in their retention goals. And they also do like outreach campaigns, re-enrollment campaigns, et cetera. But in the end, it really comes down to whether or not students feel connected and they feel like they're getting what they need in the classroom and in their connections with the faculty members. So thanks for taking that issue seriously. Thanks for asking that question.
Thank you. And along the same lines of student support, Melissa, can you help us find the resources available, all the great resources that we have to help support students across campus?
You bet. A couple of things to consider. You're going to learn a lot about this in your college and department, of course. I'll also share a directory of resources that's from Office of Faculty Affairs, where you can learn some more about specifically, student support services. That's one of the categories on that webpage. So that will be helpful. And then also in the online course for NFO, there is a virtual tour. There's a map that you can click around and see what's on campus. And when you're here physically and start wandering around and making those connections, you'll start to see sort of the web of student supports that we have. But Provost Heavey mentioned a couple of the most important, and that's advising and the Academic Success Center.
And let me say a little bit more about that, Allison. I was thinking about this in my opening remarks. If you haven't ever read the book called Mindset by Carol Dweck, I highly recommend that book for instructors. It's a book that's really made a big impact in educational circles. And again, it's called Mindset, and it's by Carol Dweck, D-W-E-C-K. And if you shoot me an email, I'll buy you a copy of it happily and have it delivered to your department. And basically, one of the points that she makes in this book is that, well, in all honesty, she talks about the fact that faculty members often come to the work of being an instructor and a professor with the wrong mindset, because one of the things that distinguishes faculty members is you were great students and you came, probably with a lot of support. Not necessarily, but most faculty members come from backgrounds where they had a lot of support of their learning. And a lot of our students come from more first generation backgrounds and backgrounds where they haven't had as much support all along the way and haven't identified themselves, like embrace the notion of themselves being college graduates. Like that's just a given that I'm going to graduate from college. They think maybe I'm going to do that and maybe I'm not. I certainly grew up in an environment where it was just always expected that I was going to go to college when I was young. And so, I had that going for me when I hit rough spots along the road to say that, hey, I'm not going to give up. I got to make it to this goal that I've always had as part of my identity. And the other thing that faculty members as great students often think is that their goal is to identify and talent and weed out people who are not really meant to be able to be successful. And that's kind of what she would call a fixed mindset, the notion that you're a talent scout rather than a person who develops the ability in students. And if you think about it more in terms of a developmental process of meeting students where they're at. That's a much healthier way to engage with students. And we're also, I don't think we've mentioned this, but we're having a MSI Student Success Summit on September 24th. And that's going to be a event that's going to run from about 9 to 2. And we're bringing in a speaker for that event, a woman named Kathy Davidson. And she wrote a book called The New Education. And I think we've already ordered 500 copies of that book as well. And if you're interested in that book, it's a great book. And it talks about educational innovation and what does it mean to build an institution that meets students where they're at, rather than just a faculty member who conceive of their work as conveying information, right? Information is easy to find now on the web. Our goal is to develop people, not to just provide them with information. And to develop people, we really need to find out where they're at and what they need to get to the next step in their life. And that is going to be a great event. Melissa's been doing a lot of work on that event. So we really encourage you to come out. That'll be also hybrid, so you can do that remotely or in person. And we'll be talking a lot about educational intervention. We're going to have Kathy Davidson there as a keynote speaker, and also a student panel to talk about what's it like being a student. Who are the kinds of people we are encountering in our classes? We are a minority serving institution, a Hispanic serving institution, and an Asian American, Native American, Pacific Islander serving institution. So highly diverse student body, a lot of first gen students coming from backgrounds that are different from the one I came from. And we want to really try to think about what life looks like from their perspective and how do we add value to their lives. So thanks for giving me a little more soapbox time, Allison.
It's super, super important. So I'm really glad that you had an opportunity to plug the MSI Student Success Summit. I think it's going to be really, really great event that I hope people will be interested in and will attend. How can faculty get involved in UNLV and the broader community? Melissa, I think maybe you can answer that.
I can share a little bit. The Office of Student Leadership and Service Learning, they collect some opportunities through GivePulse, and I recommend checking that out for sure. I'll give you the link. And then also for UNLV involvement, I'm working with some folks from the Women's Council to co-sponsor an event that's called How to Serve at UNLV Minor to Mega Commitments. So I'll give you that link to GivePulse, and yeah, maybe Janet has something to share about getting involved, volunteering.
Yeah, I think that, there are all kinds of avenues. If you are a teacher and a mentor of students, we have undergraduate research office, we have graduate research office, we have the graduate college, and there are a pile of programs that the graduate college promotes for faculty, for graduate students, and also undergraduate students. As well, what I was going to actually point toward is nothing that deals with me, but that deals with the faculty center. We've been talking about all of the official programs that Melissa and her team are heading up and that are sponsoring. But the faculty center also has a lounge. And if you want to just hang out with colleagues and hear their stories, a little bit like what you were doing in the breakout room where you got all excited, you got to learn some things, you get to see some different things and hear some different perspectives. There have actually been research groups that have developed out of this, or writing groups, or as we talked about, the reading group. Mentoring and just hanging out and hearing what it's like if you are in the sciences and you're struggling in the classroom versus being in liberal arts, and for promotion and tenure you've got to get that textbook written. Very different pieces. And also there's the whole community of individuals who have the work-life balance, and oftentimes that is focused on people with children and as they're raising a family. But others of us kind of gravitate toward our animals that we raise, right? So we have those types of social interactions. I might have gotten off point. So I wasn't exactly sure, Provost TV, what
Well-
story you were thinking about.
Well, yeah, and I'll just say that Janet's too modest. Janet and I both worked here for quite a long time, and I think we probably worked together in 5 different capacities before she became the Vice Provost for Faculty Affairs. She was very active in the graduate college. She's a professor. She's a kinesiology professor and has done a lot of work in biomechanics. She's done a lot of work with the local community and looking at athletic events and how her research gets her out into those circles. We worked together on running a program where we had high school students into labs, and she always featured her lab and doing biomechanics research and how to introduce high school students to things they never even thought they could study in college. And so she's just an example of an engaged faculty member who you just see in a lot of different contexts and takes advantage of all the different ways to be out and about in the city and in the university and doing different kinds of things. And now she's come to work with me in the provost's office, but all of those things predate that.
Well, thank you for that, Chris. Now I don't have time for those things, right?
Doesn't seem like we do anything in the provost's office, but we actually keep very busy.
Okay, so we had a few questions come in that might be more relevant to human resources. So let's try to get some of those questions in. One of them is about PTI. So what benefits are available to PTIs?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Sherry here. So the benefits that are available for PTIs, PTIs can also be eligible for benefits as long as they teach the required minimum amount of credits. So for the fall and spring semesters, PTIs must teach a minimum of 8 credits to be eligible for health insurance for September through May. And then there's different rules for the summer session. Summer session 1, PTIs have to teach a minimum of 3 credits, 4 credits for summer sessions 2 and 3. And the benefits that are offered to PTIs, if you're eligible, is the same as all other employee types. The information can be found on the benefits website. And if somebody's got that, Arturo or Kim, if you can throw that in the chat. Yet another link for you to look at.
And I'll also just say that we also invite PTIs to participate in all faculty development activities. They're welcome to join us at the Faculty Center. We share the information broadly about all of the kinds of activities that are happening on campus. And then we also have in the last year, I know, Janet, if you want to talk about, I think you've been working on the PTI orientation and the actual events.
Yep, sure. And Melissa and her team have been very instrumental in this as well. But yes, PTIs, for those of you that aren't familiar, this is part-time instructors. And they are so critical to our core mission that and they're often, we found that they've often been overlooked. So over the past couple of years, we've focused a part-time instructor orientation session. We've developed a manual, a go-to place that addresses questions that are specific to part-time instructors. And we've encouraged all of the academic units to include their part-time instructors in their school, college, and department orientation sessions. As well, one of the things that we've been doing, and part of this has been driven by COVID, but part-time instructors often have other responsibilities, work responsibilities out of the 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 time period. So we've made a conscious effort to make events and trainings available at times outside of regular working hours, and certainly moving material and resources to an online format has facilitated this as well. So there's a couple of things that we've been doing. We're always looking for opportunities to enhance. So if there are any of the, what do we have, over 400 new part-time instructors that are with us here today, and you have ideas or needs, please reach out to our office.
Okay, great, thank you. So we are running up on the 5-minute till mark. We have about 5 minutes left. So I wanted to open the floor and see if anybody had any last minute questions that we could answer before we wrap it up.
I'd say you could open your mic if you want, if you don't want to type it in the chat.
Well, let me just share a few additional comments if anyone wants to chime in. Oh, are there affinity groups for faculty? That is a good question.
There are, as a matter of fact, and there is a section on that in the online course, and I'll put a link in as well.
Yes, thanks. There's a variety of them, and we also have a President's Advisory Council where the different affinity groups are represented in a monthly meeting with the president and myself and some other key leaders to talk about issues that are relevant to particular groups. Let me just make a few last comments, and then I'll hand it over to Janet for the last word, and we'll get you out of here at time. So we, again, are very excited to have you. UNLV, I think, is a terrific institution to be joining at this moment in this time. We're pretty unique in the nation in a couple ways. One is, you probably already heard, we're one of the most diverse institutions in the nation, which means that if a student meets another student, the chances of that student being of a different ethnic group than themselves is as high here as it is anywhere in the country. And when I talk about the biggest issues facing the world, I think as we look around, it's that can people who are different from each other live and work together productively? That is just such a struggle. It's something that we're trying to make work, and this is a living, learning laboratory to do it. And I'm really excited to be a part of this one. And I'll also say that we are in a very diverse city, so our city is even more diverse than the institution. 50% of our school district is currently Latino, Latina. And so diversity is going to be a part of the DNA of this institution going forward for its future. And we're in a city of 2.3 million people as the only research university in this city. And so we will always be vital to the future of Las Vegas. We are a big university with a school of medicine and a school of dental medicine and a school of law. And so we really play a unique role in lifting up the future of this city of Las Vegas. And as you look around the country, it's also a challenging moment for higher ed. And if you track that literature, there's this demographic cliff that people talk about, where the number of students of high school age graduating to go to college is actually going to decline in the coming years. UNLV is really well positioned in the sense that we're in the growing Southwest, and again, the only research university in this large city. We're also a financially sound institution. And so I think you can feel confident that we're managing this place well, and we're going to pay you every time your pay is deserved, and that we're going to be here 100 years from now. And 100 years from now, a lot of the current institutions of higher education actually probably are not going to be around, because it will be a time in the next decade or so where some of those institutions are going to close their doors. And I sometimes talk to those kind of provosts, and they face different sets of challenges than we do. So a lot to be excited about, and we're excited to welcome you, and I hope you're excited to be a part of this story. And I'll give you the last word, Janet. Sorry to take up so much time.
No, that's perfect. We really appreciate your leadership, your enthusiasm, and all of the information that you've shared with our new faculty that are here with us today. I've nothing more to add outside of, again, a very hearty and sincere welcome. Understand that if you have any questions, please reach out. Reach out to your department colleagues, your administrative unit colleagues, your direct supervisor, any of us in leadership positions. We've shared a lot of information with you, and we are all here to support your success and to support the students who are here to better themselves. The final thing I have to say, some of you, this is the first time perhaps you've been to Las Vegas in the summer. Just remember, it's a dry heat. All right, thanks everyone.